Hey everyone, and welcome to Support for Celiac, a channel that offers support and validation for anyone affected by celiac disease. If you've just been diagnosed with celiac, you've come to the right place. I'm going to tell you today the 3 main things that you should do right after you've been diagnosed. Hopefully after watching this video, you'll feel a little more knowledgeable, a little less stressed, and a little more supported in your journey with celiac disease. I've had celiac disease for coming up on 4 years now, and I vividly remember the day that I was diagnosed. One thing I didn't have was a support group, and that's why I'm here today. So let's get into the 3 things you should be doing. First, I want to note that this is all my opinion and from my experience and my journey. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not giving medical advice, but if you need help to find a medical professional, I'm happy to guide you in the right direction as far as where to receive that help. Step 1. The first thing you need to do is stop eating gluten. But before you can stop eating gluten, you need to understand what gluten is, especially in regards to having celiac disease. If you're allergic to gluten or have a gluten intolerance, the way you go about avoiding gluten is going to be slightly different than if you have celiac disease. So the first thing you need to do is research and find out what gluten is. Now, there's a lot of information online about what gluten is, but if you've been diagnosed with celiac disease, I highly recommend going to one of these 2 sites because they are highly trusted and really focus on celiac disease from a medical standpoint and have the research behind what you should and shouldn't do. The first one I'll recommend is Beyond Celiac, which is a non-for-profit company. I'm actually an ambassador for that company, and I've met and worked with the people who run the company, and I highly trust them and recommend them. They have a really great starter pack for right after you've been diagnosed that is really concise information that's not going to overwhelm you, but also give you everything you need to get started. Another great resource is the National Foundation for Celiac Disease. I am also an ambassador for that company, and I've attended their science calls, which scientists talk about what gluten is, and they study people that have celiac disease. So there's a lot of good information and resources within that company as well. Step 2, form your support group. This disease is a lifelong illness. It can't be cured easily or just go away on its own. So you're going to need a support group. I didn't have one for a long time, and that made dealing with this disease a lot more difficult. Within your support group, you want to first arm yourself with good doctors, specifically a GI doctor and a dietitian. Hopefully, you can find a GI doctor and a dietitian that focus specifically on celiac disease or have celiac disease. For me, I called UCLA and just spoke with the people on the phone who make appointments and asked them, is there anyone within the system that has or knows about celiac disease specifically? And they set me up with a doctor. The second people you want in your support group and really have to have is the people that you live with, your housemates or your family, depending on your age and what stage of life you're in. This is very vital because as you'll learn when you're finding out what gluten is, you have to really understand the best practices within a kitchen and avoid certain contaminants within that kitchen space. So if you're living with someone, it's very important for them to understand what gluten is and understand different practices and ways that you can work together to make the kitchen a safe space for you. Because honestly, eating out is going to be very difficult, not impossible, but difficult. So you want to have at least one space in your home that you don't have to stress and worry about what you're consuming or that you're going to get accidentally glutened. The last part of your support group should be peers, other people who have celiac disease, because sometimes you just want to talk to others who understand, like physically and emotionally and mentally, the struggles that you're going through. Sometimes you can find this support group through your medical community. I know my dietitian organized a support group that you can sometimes be a part of through that. And hopefully this YouTube channel will be a support group for you as well. That's why I'm here. That's why I started this channel, and I'm always here to offer any support or guidance that I can offer you. The third thing and last thing I'm going to say right after you've been diagnosed that I would recommend doing is going to the supermarket today and getting some delicious gluten-free junk food. Like I said earlier, this disease, this illness, this condition, whatever word you prefer to use, it's not going to go away. And it's going to be a lifelong journey. It's a lot to process, and honestly, you might not be able to process it all at once. I think I processed it over several months and years, and sometimes I feel like I'm still processing it. So you want to comfort yourself. Give yourself a hug, or if you have a partner, a close friend, ask them for a hug. Take some deep breaths and eat some really comforting food. Luckily, nowadays, there's a big support for gluten-free movement, and more people are learning about celiac disease. So there's a lot of really delicious and easy products that you can buy at almost any supermarket or gas station. Anywhere you get food, you can almost always find something that's labeled gluten-free. So to conclude today's video, I just want to really stress that you are not alone in this journey. I know that I personally felt very alone in the first part of my journey, and that was really hard to deal with. It made having celiac disease and understanding it a lot more stressful for myself internally, even though sometimes I didn't want to admit that. So I highly recommend coming back to this channel and asking questions. If you have any comments for today or any questions or other topics on celiac disease that you'd like covered, please leave them in the comment section below. Like and subscribe, and please become part of this conversation. I'm really here for you. I'm here to support you and validate you in how you're feeling and offer any other support that I can with you along in this journey. So thanks for being here today. I hope I helped you out in what to do if you were just diagnosed, and I'll see you next time.